What if I told you that deleting your Google account for 30 days completely changed the way I see the internet forever? Not in a dramatic conspiracy theory kind of way, but in a way that actually shocked me when I realized how deeply Google had woven itself into almost every single part of my daily life. I mean, I knew I used Google a lot, but I had no idea just how much until it was completely gone. And the things I discovered during those 30 days, some of them made me laugh, some of them genuinely scared me, and honestly, a few of them changed my habits permanently. So if you've ever wondered what life looks like without Google, or if you've ever felt a little uneasy about how much this one company knows about you, then you need to watch this entire video, because I promise you, by the end, you're going to see things very differently. Welcome back to Tech Guy, and if you're new here, we talk about real tech experiences, honest digital life experiments, and everything that affects how you use technology every single day. Before we dive in, if you find this kind of content useful, go ahead and hit that like button right now and subscribe to Tech Guy so you never miss videos like this one. We post regularly, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Okay, now let's get into it. So let me start by explaining why I even decided to do this. A few months ago, I was reading through some articles about data privacy, and I came across a detailed breakdown of everything Google collects from its users. And I'm not talking about just your search history. I'm talking about your location at every moment of the day, the things you say near your Android phone, your purchase history through Gmail receipts, your health patterns through Google Fit, your video watching behavior, your contacts, your calendar, your entire digital footprint basically mapped and stored. And something about reading all of that just sat with me in a really uncomfortable way. I started asking myself, do I actually know how dependent I am on Google? And more importantly, could I even function without it? So I decided to find out. Now, before I deleted anything, I had to do some serious preparation because, let me tell you, just hitting delete on a Google account is not something you can do casually. I spent about a week backing up everything. And when I say everything, I mean thousands of emails in Gmail, years of photos from Google Photos, documents from Google Drive, my contacts, my calendar events, YouTube subscriptions, bookmarks from Chrome, and even my saved passwords from Google's password manager. The backup process alone was an eye-opener because when you actually see all of your data laid out in front of you ready to be exported, it becomes very real very quickly. Google actually has a tool called Google Takeout that lets you download all your data, and I used that. The file that downloaded was enormous. Gigabytes of my personal information that had been sitting in Google's servers, some of it going back nearly a decade. Once I had everything backed up, I set my start date, and on that day, I deactivated my Google account and began what turned out to be the most interesting digital experiment I've ever done. The first thing that hit me, within literally the first hour, was how many apps on my phone were connected to Google Login. I picked up my phone, tried to open an app I use all the time, and it said my Google sign-in session had expired. So I tried to log in again, and then realized, oh wait, I deleted the account. And that's when the domino effect started. It wasn't just one app, it was app after app after app. Food delivery apps, shopping apps, gaming apps, note-taking apps, fitness trackers. So many of them used Google as their login method that I was essentially locked out of a huge chunk of my digital life within the first 60 minutes. That was a wake-up call I was absolutely not prepared for. Day 2 was when the search engine challenge began. I switched to DuckDuckGo, which is one of the most popular privacy-focused search engines out there. And look, DuckDuckGo is genuinely not bad. It's improved a lot over the years, but there were moments where I searched for something very specific and the results just weren't as sharp as what I was used to. Google has spent billions of dollars and decades of time training its search algorithm to understand exactly what you mean, even when you're not being super precise. DuckDuckGo gives you clean results without tracking you, but there were a few times during those 30 days where I had to rephrase my search 3 or 4 times to find what I was looking for. That said, I want to be honest here. For the majority of everyday searches, DuckDuckGo worked just fine. It was only the really nuanced or highly specific queries where I felt the difference. By week 1, I had settled into a new routine. I was using ProtonMail for email, and honestly, I fell in love with it almost immediately. ProtonMail is end-to-end encrypted, meaning even ProtonMail itself cannot read your emails. That felt incredibly freeing once I understood it. My email felt private in a way it never had before. For maps, I switched to Apple Maps on my phone and used a combination of OpenStreetMap for more detailed navigation. Apple Maps has gotten significantly better over the last couple of years, and for most of my driving needs, it worked perfectly. There were a couple of moments where it didn't have as much detail for local businesses as Google Maps would have, but nothing that was a deal breaker. For cloud storage, I moved to a combination of iCloud and a free tier of Proton Drive. And for documents, I started using Notion for notes and Microsoft Word for longer writing projects. But here's where things started getting really interesting. And this is the part of the story that I think surprised me the most. Around day 10, I started noticing something about the ads I was seeing online. Now, even though I had deleted my Google account, I was still browsing the internet. And I noticed that the ads I was seeing were suddenly way less specific. Before the experiment, I could search for something on Google, and within hours, I would see ads for that exact product or service following me around the internet on completely different websites. That's called retargeting, and it's powered largely by Google's advertising network, which is one of the biggest in the world. But once my Google account was gone and I was using a privacy-focused browser called Brave, combined with DuckDuckGo, those hyper-specific ads just disappeared. The ads I saw were generic, random, not tailored to my recent thoughts, searches, or conversations. And honestly, at first it felt weird. Then it felt really good, because I realized I had been living inside a bubble of algorithmic influence that I hadn't even been fully aware of. That realization hit me hard around day 12. I started thinking about all the times I had searched for something on Google and then bought it shortly after. Was that always my own decision? Or was I being nudged by advertising that was so perfectly targeted to my psychology that it felt like a personal choice when it really wasn't entirely? I'm not here to go full conspiracy mode on you, but I genuinely sat with that question for a while. And it made me more mindful about my purchasing decisions in a way I hadn't been before. Week 2 also brought some real challenges on the work side of things. I do a lot of collaboration, and so many people around me use Google Workspace, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Meet, Google Calendar. When someone sent me a Google Docs link to review, I couldn't just click and edit like before. I had to ask them to export it to a different format, or I had to find workarounds. And while those workarounds existed, they added friction. Real noticeable friction that slowed things down and sometimes frustrated the people I was working with. This was probably the biggest practical challenge of the entire experiment because it wasn't just affecting me, it was affecting people I work with every day. And that's when I really understood why Google's strategy of making everything interconnected is so powerful. It's not just about you, it's about making the entire ecosystem around you dependent on Google too, so that even if you want to leave, the social and professional cost of doing so is very high. Around day 15, I started exploring YouTube alternatives because, let's be real, YouTube is Google. And going without YouTube felt like going without television. I tried Rumble, I tried Odyssey, and I tried Vimeo. All of them have some great content, and Odyssey in particular has a really interesting creator community. But the sheer volume, variety, and quality of content on YouTube is just in a completely different league. I found myself missing specific creators, missing tutorial videos that I rely on for learning new skills, and honestly missing the YouTube recommendation algorithm, which, as problematic as it can be for keeping you watching too long, is also incredibly good at surfacing content you actually want to see. This was probably the withdrawal symptom I felt the most consistently throughout the entire 30 days. By week 3, I had found a rhythm. I had my alternative apps set up. I knew their limitations. I knew their strengths. And I was navigating my digital life without Google. And something started to happen that I didn't expect. I started feeling calmer online. I'm serious. Without Google's ecosystem pulling me in every direction, without Gmail sending me constant notifications, without YouTube's autoplay pulling me into another hour of watching, without Google News feeding me a curated stream of content designed to keep me emotionally engaged, I just felt less reactive, less anxious, less like I needed to check something every 5 minutes. Now that might sound like a small thing, but for me, it was genuinely significant. It made me think a lot about how much of our digital anxiety is connected to these systems that are specifically designed to maximize our engagement, which essentially means maximizing how much time we spend in a heightened emotional state, whether that's excitement, outrage, curiosity, or fear. Day 22 brought an interesting moment. A friend asked me to share a photo, and my instinct was to send a Google Photos link, and then I caught myself. That tiny moment, that automatic reflex to reach for a Google tool, showed me just how deeply habitual these tools had become. It wasn't that they were necessarily the best option. It was that they had become the default reaction, the invisible first choice. And once you become aware of that pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. The way we automatically open Google when we have a question, even when the answer might be just as easy to find elsewhere. The way we default to Gmail for email like it's the only option. The way Chrome feels like the internet itself to many people, when really it's just one browser made by a company that profits from your data. By day 28, I was already thinking about what I would do when the experiment ended. Would I go back to Google? The honest answer is that I did restore my account after 30 days, but I didn't go back to using it the same way. I came back with new boundaries. I deleted the Google app from my phone and kept DuckDuckGo as my default search engine. I kept ProtonMail for my most sensitive communications while using Gmail for less personal stuff. I kept using the Brave browser instead of Chrome. I moved my most important files to alternative storage, and only kept Google Drive for things that genuinely needed to be shared with others. And I unsubscribed from Google News entirely and started curating my own news sources directly. The things that genuinely shocked me through this whole experience came down to a few key truths. The first is that Google dependency is not just about Google. It's about an entire ecosystem designed to make leaving feel expensive, complicated, and socially isolating. The second is that your data is being collected in ways and at a scale that most people have genuinely never thought about. And the behavioral impact of all that targeted advertising is more subtle and more powerful than most of us realize. The third is that alternatives do exist. They are functional, and some of them are actually better in meaningful ways, but they require intention. You have to decide to use them. You have to set them up. And in a world designed for convenience and habit, that intentional friction is the whole point. The fourth thing that shocked me, and this might be the most important one, is that the moment you step outside of Google's ecosystem even partially, you start to see how much of your online experience has been quietly curated for you. The search results you see, the news you read, the videos you watch, the ads you encounter, all of it is shaped by an algorithm that is not designed with your best interests in mind. It's designed to keep you engaged, keep you clicking, and keep you inside the system. And once you see that, once you really feel it by stepping outside of it, you cannot unsee it. That awareness stays with you. Now, I want to be fair here because Google does provide genuinely incredible, genuinely useful services. Google Maps is an engineering miracle. Google Search is remarkably powerful. Google Photos does something magical with memory and storage. YouTube is the greatest video library humanity has ever built. These things have real value. I'm not here to tell you to delete your Google account and never look back. That would be an oversimplification. What I am here to tell you is that you should know what you're trading for those free services. You should understand the exchange. And you should make an intentional choice about how much access you want to give this one company to the most detailed data about your life. The Tech Guy challenge for you this week is simple. Go to your Google account settings and open My Activity. Just look at what's there. Sit with it for a minute. See your location history, your search history, your YouTube history, your interaction history, and then ask yourself honestly, are you comfortable with all of that? Do you know what's being done with it? And if the answer makes you a little uncomfortable, that's actually healthy. That discomfort is your awareness trying to grow. So that's the truth about what happened when I deleted my Google account for 30 days. It wasn't as impossible as I expected. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't comfortable. But it was one of the most eye-opening digital experiments I've ever done. And I genuinely believe that every person who cares about their privacy, their mental health, and their autonomy online should try some version of it, even if just for a week. If this video made you think about something differently, I want to know about it in the comments below. Tell me, would you try this experiment? Have you already done something like it? Are there Google alternatives you love that I didn't mention? Drop everything in the comments because I read every single one and your experiences help make these videos better for everyone in the Tech Guy community. And if you think someone in your life needs to hear this, please share this video with them. Seriously, share it. It could be the thing that changes how they see their digital life. If you haven't subscribed to Tech Guy yet, now is the perfect time because we've got more digital experiments, privacy deep dives, and honest tech conversations coming your way very soon. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.